story seems to be getting a lot of attention. I don't know why this particular story is getting so much attention, but I guess today we're going to be talking about it, considering Anthony Albanese himself has actually addressed it. Now, I don't know if you guys have heard this, but Anthony Albanese is trying to stack the deck in Parliament. So he's trying to push for 12 new senators as well as 24 people in the House of Representatives. Extra. They're all going to be in metro areas, which means they are heavily dominated by, you guessed it, Labor voters. Otherwise, he wouldn't be doing it like that. And also, not to mention the millions of people that he's going to be letting in the next couple of years. It seems as if Anthony Albanese is going to try and stay in power for a long period of time, or actually have Labor in a long period of time. You don't need to do too much except change Parliament and how it's structured, and then also import a great deal of voters. And then people won't accuse you of tampering with elections, except that's exactly what it is. You're tampering with the outcome of a supposed election by importing voters and then also changing the way Parliament is set up, having more seats to side with you. Now, that's exactly what Anthony Albanese is doing, not just to mention everything else that he's messing up with the country. Now, that all being said, my friends, Anthony Albanese, I do not like as a prime minister. I didn't vote for him. I don't like anything that he's doing to my country. But that does not mean that I wish Anthony Albanese or his ilk ill will at all. In fact, I am so against any kind of violence. No one, and I mean no one, should have their life threatened, and no one, and I mean no one, should lose their life for speech or even in politics. In today's day and age, in today's society, it is sickening to see people, whether they are a commentator, I mean, Charlie Kirk, for goodness sake. Trump was shot, his life spared. Political violence is going on and on and on. It's usually from people on the left. That doesn't mean that people on the right can't just be as bad. Believe you me. But it means that loads of people on the left are worse. We are living in a day and age whereby our politicians crave power, they want control, and they want to stifle freedom of speech. Now, because we have freedom of speech in the Western Hemisphere, or Western world, I should say, it means you can say whatever you want. Doesn't make it right, but you can say it. And in fact, I'd much rather someone say it, because then there's going to be consequences. I'm not going to stop you from saying it or make you afraid to say anything, because now we know exactly where we stand and we can act accordingly. That's how society works. You don't just go, you can't say this or that because I'm actually scared of that. No. You actually have consequences for things that people say. That's the way things should work. Now, Anthony Albanese has addressed a threat against his life. And it came from an Aboriginal man. Anthony Albanese has made a plea for calm or peace. We've got to be civil. After Norman Dean Lake, 52 years old, was arrested in Newport, north of Brisbane on Saturday and charged with one count of using a carriage service to make a threat to kill, which carries a maximum penalty of 10 years imprisonment. The Australian Federal Police will allege the threat was made on Facebook and was aimed at Anthony Albanese. Mr. Lake's matter was heard in Brisbane Magistrates Court, where Magistrate Luke Ross told Lake's Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander legal service duty lawyer it was his chance at notoriety and remanded the accused in custody, the Courier Mail reported. Anthony Albanese has responded to recent death threats against him, saying we need to turn down the temperature on dangerous rhetoric. Well, the sad truth is Anthony Albanese and his ilk are spreading the divide. The Voice spread divide, calling people on the right neo-Nazis and fascists and saying we're the dangerous ones. That is not turning down the temperature. The name calling doesn't do any good. In fact, it turns up the temperature. Anthony Albanese, instead of actually going, you know what, I'm going to do my due diligence here and actually look at the majority of Australians that went to these marches. No, I'm going to label a couple of actual real neo-Nazis that attended and tried to disrupt the entire event. I'm going to label everyone. Exactly what we see Keir Starmer doing in the UK. These people are causing the divide. And then they want to go, oh, we got to turn down the temperature. The same playbook the Democrats did in the States when Trump was shot. Well, we got to turn down the rhetoric, but yet they say, oh, it's okay. Like they celebrate the death of someone, or they actually send out death threats. It's disgusting. People are losing common sense, not just common sense, but human decency. And our politicians are not helping the matter by then stoking the fire, as it were. But then when it's like actually they receive these supposed death threats, then they go, oh, guys, calm down. Stop with the stoking of the fire, guys. Settle down. And then they actually, after that, they want to like stop us from having freedoms. You watch. There will be consequences. Not just because of what this man did for him, but there'll be consequences for us on our freedom of speech. What this man did was disgusting. He should never have threatened our Prime Minister. Never. No one should ever be threatened at all with death threats. Never. And I'm actually glad that the police did something about this for once. No one should ever have to live in fear for being a politician, even a commentator. Just because you disagree with someone doesn't give you the right to want to take their life. In fact, you're never going to solve the problem. You just make it worse. Now, why in the world is this particular case getting so much attention? I mean, understandably, this shouldn't happen. It really shouldn't. But this seems to be getting more attention than other stories. And I'm wondering why. I really am. These threats are real. We have seen in other countries, the United States and the United Kingdom, we have seen public figures targeted. I've consistently said we need to, wherever possible, turn down the temperature of debate and to agree and disagree respectfully as much as is possible. We have a vibrant democracy here. No one is trying to stifle free speech. Well, that'd be interesting to see when digital ID comes around the corner. But the level of threats which have been made have been elevated substantially. For everyone, including the media, politicians have a responsibility as well. Turn down the temperature is really what we need to do. So turn it down. Turn it down, show some spine. And when it comes to the pro-Palestinian dingbats that want to actually celebrate October 7th, because today is the anniversary of October 7th, they want to celebrate the death of Jews. You didn't put a stop to that. That's actually disgusting. That's actually stoking the fire of hate. I just don't get how the pro-Palestinian mob hates the Jews so much that they celebrate on a Memorial Day. Does that really show that we're turning down the temperature? And our Prime Minister goes, oh, if you're going to go, then just think about it. No. It's disgusting. It's despicable. And I would say as Prime Minister, no. Today, of all days, no. Don't protest. It's not good. You shouldn't be protesting. In fact, go to work. And I actually agree. The media needs to do a better job. They're doing a horrible job. In fact, they are part of the problem even more so. They're stoking the fires even more. The matter is currently before the courts, and the level of threats which have been made have been elevated substantially. It has meant changes to what I am able to do and how I'm able to do it. Australia's domestic spy chief Mike Burgess warned of deteriorating social cohesion when he hiked the terror threat level to probable last year. Well, the thing is, Mr. Burgess and even Albo, you're letting these people in. You're letting these people in from overseas. Islam is taken over. Don't know if you guys are aware of that. You've let in goodness knows how many of the dingbats from over in Gaza. You've let in the terror brides from Syria. Oh, we're going to watch them. So, and yet you want to say turn down the temperature. You have every right to say turn down the temperature, but your actions are proving otherwise. Your actions are going, the temperature is actually up a lot, quite considerably so. And it's like, mate, what are you doing? But now you're addressing people going, oh, calm down, guys. And I'll say it again to finish. What happened should never happen. I'm against any threat whatsoever. Incitement of violence, no. There are consequences to that. And good on the police for charging this man. Perhaps he'll learn his lesson. Perhaps. Anyway, that's enough from me, but you guys take care. Be blessed, and I'll see you all in the next video.